After I gave birth, my husband's family dropped a bombshell. In our culture, the grandparents raised the firstborn. When I refused, his mother smirked, "Then you're disrespecting our ancestors." Now my husband looked torn, but that night I made one call. The next morning, they opened their mail and screamed when they saw what I had done. I was still in the hospital bed, barely 12 hours postpartum, when his mother Diane announced it. She walked in holding a brand new car seat still in the box. "We'll take him home Thursday," she said, not asked. "I'm already off work for the next 6 months." I laughed. Actually laughed. "You're joking?" Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "It's tradition, sweetheart. My mother raised my firstborn for 2 years. Now it's my turn." She set the car seat down like she owned the place. I looked at my husband Stephen, waiting for him to say something. Anything. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "We can discuss it later," he mumbled, staring at his shoes. "There's nothing to discuss," I said, my voice shaking. "He's my son." Diane's face hardened. "Our grandson. And in this family, we honor our ancestors." She leaned closer, her perfume making me nauseous. "Stephen knows what's right, don't you, sweetheart?" He just stood there, silent, like a statue. That's when I knew. He'd already agreed to this, probably weeks ago, maybe even before I went into labor. They'd planned this whole thing while I was picking out onesies and painting the nursery. My hands were shaking as I pressed the nurse call button. "Fine," I said quietly. "Leave, now." Diane smiled like she'd won the lottery. "We'll be back Thursday morning. The nursery at our house is already set up." She actually winked at me. "Don't worry, we'll send you pictures." I waited until they left, waited until Stephen followed them out, mumbling something about getting coffee. Then I grabbed my phone. I didn't call a family therapist. I didn't call my parents. I called my immigration attorney, the one I'd kept on retainer since Stephen and I first got engaged, because I'm not stupid. See, Diane had overstayed her visitor visa by 11 months. I knew this because she'd literally bragged about it at Christmas dinner, laughing with her sister about how easy it was to just stay in the country. "No one checks," she'd said, raising her wine glass. "Land of the free." I had her on video, saved in 3 different cloud accounts. My attorney answered on the second ring. I explained everything. The attempted kidnapping disguised as tradition, Stephen's betrayal, Diane's smugness. "Give me 2 hours," she said. It took 90 minutes. By 6 a.m. the next morning, while I was attempting to breastfeed and crying from exhaustion, Diane received a certified letter at her house, a deportation notice. ICE had been notified of her visa violation, complete with video evidence and timestamps. She had 14 days to leave the country. My phone started ringing at 6:47 a.m. Stephen. I let it go to voicemail. He called 6 more times. I was feeding my son, watching him make those little baby noises, and I'd never felt more at peace. Finally, I answered. "You reported my mother?" He was screaming so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. I held my son closer, adjusting his blanket. "She tried to take mine. She's being deported because of you. Do you understand what you've done?" I smiled for the first time in days. "Actually, she's being deported because she broke federal immigration law." I just reminded the government about it. There was silence on the other end, heavy breathing. "Funny how traditions change when consequences show up, isn't it?" I said softly. The line went dead. An hour later, Diane called from a blocked number. I answered on speaker while the nurse checked my vitals. "You vindictive little..." "The recording of this call will be submitted as evidence if you continue," I interrupted. "My attorney is CC'd on everything. Keep talking." She hung up. Stephen filed for divorce 3 weeks later. I got full custody, the house, and 70% of our assets. Turns out judges don't look kindly on fathers who try to hand over newborns to visa violators. Diane was deported on schedule. Stephen moved back in with his dad. And my son? He's asleep in the nursery I painted, the one in my house, where he belongs. The best way to honor your ancestors is to protect your children from repeating their mistakes. That car seat Diane brought, still in the box. I donated it last week to a women's shelter.